Life. This is Avram
Machtiger.
Avram Machtiger from Barkbusters. He's a man with a fascinating story to tell about he and this gentleman, Neptune. Hi, Neptune.
Paw.
Can we see Paw?
Good boy.
Good boy. How you doing? What a great guy. How Neptune changed Avram's life. Hi, Avram.
Hi, John.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Glad to have you in here. And what a well-behaved. We've all been commenting on how
he is
just like he's got it down, doesn't he? He knows how to just be in the moment and behave himself.
And he looks to me for cues, which is, you know, I guess part of our conversation. He's taken a lot of work and training. He was on the streets for 10 weeks. He showed up in my mother's neighborhood, Shenley Farms, where my mom lived at the time, about 9 years ago, right after Pitt let out, in Pittsburgh.
Here, yep.
In Pittsburgh, right near the Cathedral of Learning.
Yep.
And he would not allow himself to be caught. No one could catch him, not the animal rescue people, whether professional city people or volunteers from shelters, not me, not my mom, not me and my dogs.
So he was completely wild.
He was completely wild. And when he was finally caught after 10 weeks, he was feral. And
now he's
I
sniffing
knew that if he was given to a shelter, he wouldn't have been adopted. And I already had 2 dogs, had 2 terriers, didn't want a 3rd dog and didn't want a big dog, and here we are.
They would have put him down, you think?
They probably would have.
Yeah.
So through the years, done a lot of training with him.
Yeah, but let's talk about the transition, your career. You just...
there we are.
Yeah, there you are with your other 2 dogs. Yep. And
yes.
What motivated you to all of a sudden just drop everything?
I spent a long time in public health, in training, in education, and advocacy on the nonprofit side. And it just came down to, for all sorts of reasons, wanting to do something else. If I didn't give myself the chance to have my own business in my 50s, when would I do it?
Yeah.
And this dog, even though I'd done lots of training with this dog through the years, there was always this, what I refer to as a wiggy edge. Sometimes he could be fear aggressive, sometimes he could be difficult. And when looking for a particular training, I know, it's there, it's there, but
he could be difficult? No.
Yes, he could. With strangers, he could be a little anxious, he could be a little worried. And he's a big dog, and he's a powerful dog, and so, you know, people could be concerned about the dog. And long story short, I found my way to Barkbusters and decided that it was worth going across the country for and going into business for. So Neptune and I drove to Colorado last summer. We trained 6 days and 6 evenings a week for 3 weeks, brought the business to Western Pennsylvania. It's an Australian business that's wended its way around the world. It comes out of this woman's work. Her name is Sylvia Wilson. She grew up on farms with dogs. She worked in the Australian shelter system, and she really got down what it is for us to communicate with our dogs, how it is for us to lead our dogs and train our dogs, knowing that dogs are pack animals, and how they can respond to that.
And the key, you just said it, I know this, is I learned this from my son-in-law, Brett Booth, who is actually, reminds me a lot of you. He just has a way with animals of all kinds, particularly dogs, but is to be the leader.
Yes.
You have to be the, you can't turn that over to the dog or you're done.
And actually, I mean, we adapt and allow dogs to run our lives a whole lot, whether they bark, they jump, they dash the doorbell, stuff like that. So I come into people's homes, train them, they have homework to do. This is an unusual dog training in that we give a life of the dog guarantee along with the training. We customize the training to the particular dog and the situations people are having.
You know what? We're going to take a quick break, Avram, and we're going to find more out about just exactly what you're talking about. When we come back, folks, get some dog training advice from Avram of Barkbusters. That's next when Pittsburgh Today Live returns.
Take $500.
And we are back with Avram Machtiger of Barkbusters, and he is here with Neptune, his pal, his buddy of 9 years. And he is a good dog, and he's got some advice for us on how to train our own dogs. What's the biggest mistake most dog owners make, Avram?
I think it's not training your dog, living with your dog, thinking of your dog as a really good friend, which they are, with a fur coat on. You know, they're not people. And not understanding it's a pack animal and it really craves leadership and certain kinds of order in a household.
And there is the biggest thing, I mentioned my son-in-law, Brett Booth, earlier, but the thing he taught me that is so important, I now realize, is that you and I, or our wives, I mean, somebody in the household besides the animal has to be the leader.
Well, and in a household when I train, it's both, or any and all adults
Okay.
Okay, and it extends to the family, but the dogs need leadership and we have to be the leaders. So it can be any dog, any age, any problem. I will help resolve it.
Never too late to start?
Never too late to start.
Now, you come into the home and you must find all kinds of situations.
I do.
You find
I couldn't
people,
make some of them up.
I bet you couldn't. You find people, I'm sure, who are totally controlled by their dogs.
Yes. And I really appreciate the opportunity to come into people's homes because it's a very important thing to let me in and try to resolve this so people and their dogs can live well together.
Have you ever had a case where you just said, you threw up your hands and said, this is hopeless?
No, we chip away. I go back, we work with the, you know, as long as people are willing to work with their dog and do their homework and follow through, I'm willing to work with them.
So the key is you train the dog.
The key, you know, here's one, you asked me for some examples.
Oh, look at this again. He's got his head on my foot.
Great.
I want to take your dog home with me. This is,
he's being great.
It's just unbelievable.
When
all right, Avram, lie back down.
Okay.
I mean, not Avram.
It's Neptune.
Neptune, lie back down. Come on.
All right, here's an example. If Neptune comes up to me and nudges me and I pet him, that's him training me. Okay. Dogs are really good at that. Dogs ask us for what they want. But if I'm the leader of my dog and I just ignore him, I'm not being mean, I'm not rejecting him, I'm merely being the leader and I am choosing when to pet my dog. He kind of lives for 5-10 second increments. After, you know, that amount of time, he won't pay attention, he moves on. Then I could say, Neptune, good boy, come over here, and then I pet him.
Yeah.
So I get to love my dog, but I don't let him interrupt me at the computer by nudging me and saying, you pay attention to me now.
Right, or leading you to the food closet, or the treats. Or
dogs walk over to cabinets and they look at us and we go, oh, such a clever dog, when really they're watching our body language and knowing that there's hope. They'll pull down a treat.
And they're controlling in the process. Well, if you'd like to get in touch with Avram folks and Bark Busters, you can just give them a toll-free call at this number. That's 1-877-500-BARK, 1-877-500-BARK, or check them out online. We have a link, by the way, to their website for you at kdka.com.